Kyle Larson's race at Bristol Motor Speedway on Sunday was nothing short of a wild ride. The race was a roller coaster of emotions for Larson and his fellow drivers, from the pleasure of an early lead to the frustration of incidents on and off the track. However, one incident in particular, involving Ryan Preece, heightened tensions and had a lasting impact on the race's outcome. Stay tuned for all the drama and anger that Larson showed after the race. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more whereabouts on NASCAR. It could have been the first win of the season and the first of many consecutive victories. All of the necessary components were available. A race on dirt, starting from the pole position with a quick and competitive vehicle. It had the potential to be the night for Kyle Larson to win in Bristol, but it didn't end up happening. After making contact with Ryan Preece in the closing laps of the race, the Hendrick Motorsports driver ended up hitting the wall in turn 1, which dropped his finishing position to 35th. The blow knocked him out for the day with the amount of damage he took. In point of fact, Larson and Preece collided many times throughout the course of the race, with the most prominent accidents coming in stages 1 and 3. It was very evident from a phrase that the number 5 driver stated when interacting with the media that he was rather frustrated over the race, considering all of the factors that were taken into consideration. Kyle Larson loses his cool with a reporter after his DNF in Bristol. Finishing 35th after running in the top 5 for most of the race can make any driver lose their cool, even someone like Kyle Larson, who's normally quiet and reserved. After the race, while interacting with the media, a reporter came a little too near to Kyle Larson with their microphone, which prompted the irritated driver to yell, "Dude, get that out of my effing face." After the microphone brushed across his neck, the reporter could sense the annoyance in the man's tone even though he did not raise his volume when speaking to the reporter. After leaving the care center, Larson stated to members of the media that it was obvious that he had a short temper. After that, I believe he made an attempt to crash into me. He was swerving at me while I was under the yellow. Assumed that it had been about an hour and a half since that had occurred, and that it was not my fault that he had ended up spinning out and in the back. I was under the impression that he would calm down, but it's quite clear that he did not. Like I said, it had probably been an hour and a half or so, I would have to guess, since then, so I figured we could just be grown-ups and get the F over it. But I suppose not. Ryan Preece tells what happened in the Stage 3 incident between him and Larson. In an interview after the race, Ryan Preece talked about the thing that happened between him and Larson that stopped Larson's day. According to NBC Sports, Preece was quoted as saying, "I think you just get mad getting run in the fence." There was no meaning. It's just that while you're sitting in that race car, you're thinking, I'm not going to lift. Every time you lift, if folks notice you lifting while you're at the right rear corner, they're simply going to keep driving you up into the fence. This is what happens when it comes to being run into the fence. Preece explained what he meant when he said "game over" on the radio after an accident with Larson earlier in the race. "I think when I said game over, I just meant I wasn't going to keep lifting and giving that respect of, hey, I'll give you this room. It comes down to that." Overall, Preece says that his contact with Larson was unplanned and that he was just letting loose at the time. And concludingly, when the punishment is given, it will completely change how the points are counted. But the question remains is what will be the possible consequences? What do you think? Tell us in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button for more updates. But here, look at the current playoff results after Christopher Bell won the Bristol Dirt Race. With his win on the track at Bristol Motor Speedway, Christopher Bell has earned a spot in the playoffs. In addition, Bell now holds the overall lead in the Drivers' Championship standings, having moved ahead of Ross Chastain to claim the first place position. After finishing in 9th place on Sunday night, Kevin Harvick is still in 3rd place overall in the standings. Tyler Reddick made the most progress in the overall standings, moving up into the top 5 and becoming the player with the most movement. The driver for 23XI Racing got off to a slow start to the season, but he has built up a significant amount of steam over the course of the past month or so. In the standings, he is now in 1st place, slightly ahead of Kyle Busch, who is competing for Richard Childress Racing in his former number 8 Chevrolet. Through the first 8 races of the season, there have been 7 different winners, with William Byron being the only winner in the lot to have accomplished this feat more than once. 6 different teams have also won, but both Byron and Kyle Larson have won for the same team, Hendrick Motorsports. On April 16th, NASCAR will hold another week of short-track racing at Martinsville Speedway. The Bristol Dirt Race is now in the past, and the next weekend, NASCAR will return to the asphalt at one of the most cherished venues on the circuit. The series goes back to Virginia for a 3rd straight short-track race, which will be the 2nd time in 3 weeks. This season, the race will take place on the Paperclip track at Martinsville Speedway, which is the shortest circuit on the schedule. Christopher Bell is the participant to beat going into this competition for a number of different reasons. Bell is the reigning champion of the competition, having won an impressive victory in the fall of last year in a win-or-go-home scenario. The Joe Gibbs Racing driver responded to the challenge, emerged victorious, and secured a berth for himself in the Championship 4 standings. Bell is also coming off his first win of the season, which took place at Bristol, where he led the most laps of the race on his way to winning the race and taking the checkered flag. Although Bell will most certainly be a player to keep an eye on the following Sunday, his teammates have also displayed some impressive talent at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin has the most victories of any driver at this track with 5, and he has also qualified on the front row 4 times. Denny Hamlin is currently in first place among all active drivers with 5 victories at the paperclip, while his teammate Martin Truex, the number 19 Toyota, demonstrates an impressive level of familiarity with the track. From 2019 to 2021, Truex won 3 of the 4 races that were held at the track. Denny Hamlin was given a penalty by NASCAR after the race at Phoenix Raceway because he had intentionally crashed into Ross Chastain's number 1 car, sending both of them into the outside wall. After figuring out that he broke Section 4.4, NASCAR member Code of Conduct of the rulebook, the governing body fined him $50,000 and took away 25 driver points from his total. Hamlin made an appeal about the penalty before he went to Bristol Motor Speedway. On the other hand, the National Motorsports Appeals Panel said that the sentence should stay the same. One of the most important differences between the two situations is that Hamlin said in an episode of his podcast called Actions Detrimental that he had reached out to Chastain on purpose. If Bell is able to maintain his momentum into the following weekend, Joe Gibbs Racing has a chance to reclaim its position as the team to beat. Next weekend in Martinsville, there will be a number of deserving competitors vying for one of the remaining available playoff spots. Only Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch, both of whom have won twice at Martinsville, are the only other active drivers to have won multiple times at this track. On Saturday, the action kicks off with practice and qualifying, and on Sunday, race day coverage on FS1 gets underway at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. So that's all we've got for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think of the video in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in the upcoming video.